Hi, my name's Trystan Petrash. Now, before we get into this episode, I actually want to talk a little bit about my next one, which isn't something I normally do.
Unless you happen to be a monthly donor, then you get behind-the-scenes access to upcoming episodes.
But these are special circumstances, as my next one will be my 100th episode. And it's actually something I've been planning for the last year. And so for my 100th episode, I'm going to redo my very first. So, stay tuned. This entire salad is relatively low maintenance and can be thrown together rather quick, but we're going to start by prepping the vegetables. Now, this salad is something I literally pulled out of my ass one day, and not just my take on a classic or traditional Thai dish. Therefore, you can absolutely use whatever you'd like in it. You do you. Sticking with the whole Thai theme, I started mine off with some carrot, and like I said all the way back in episode 87. But with noodle dishes in particular, slicing everything so it matches the shape of the noodles will make them easier to eat, especially with chopsticks. But in addition to that, it also just makes the dish look a lot more visually appealing. In addition to carrot, I chose cucumber, which also fits nicely with the Thai motif. The variety of cucumber you use doesn't really matter, just make sure to remove the seeds from the center. While they do have a lot of flavor, they can actually water down the dressing. Not wholly a Thai ingredient, but I decided to go with some radish as well, mostly because there is a ton in our garden at the moment. But I think the radish also gives the dish, which is predominantly sweet, tangy, and savory, a nice peppery bite. Lastly, some thinly sliced green onion, because, well, you know. Now as far as proteins go, again, use whatever you'd like. You do you. Again. I chose pork belly. Mostly because I always have a ton of pork belly kicking around in my freezer, but also because pork belly is fucktastically amazing. But chicken, shrimp, and tofu would all be great in here too. You don't need to do anything special with it either, just cut it into nice little cubes. Pork belly when cooked tends to stretch out and elongate, so cutting it into cubes will help them keep their shape. Season the belly generously with kosher salt and freshly cracked black pepper. Then add to a pan heated over medium heat. We're just looking to render the fat a bit and get some color on the outside, roughly the consistency of lightly crisped bacon. Then remove from the heat and set aside. Now, because this is a Thai noodle dish, I'm using rice noodles. Aside from pasta and instant ramen, these are probably the easiest noodles to get your hands on and don't require a special trip to an Asian grocer. They come in several sizes, from a very skinny vermicelli to a thicker one like these. I'm using these medium-sized ones that you'd normally use in pho. Typically, you'd steep them in hot water until they just soften and finish them in either a broth or a stir-fry. But since they're going in a salad, we'll need them fully cooked. Toss the noodles into some boiling water and gently stir to prevent them from sticking together. They won't take very long to cook either, a good 3 to 5 minutes depending on their size, or until they're tender but still have a bit of a chew. Then transfer the noodles to a bowl full of cold water to shock them and stop the cooking process. Ensure the noodles have completely cooled before straining them. You want them to be pretty dry. Like the cucumber seeds, any excessive water will just dilute the dressing. And speaking of dressing, the star is this magical ingredient called tamarind. They kinda look like a cross between a green bean and a peanut. The pulp inside has this wonderful, tangy, sweet and sour flavor that just really can't be put into words if you've never tried it. It's almost the consistency of peanut butter, except it's very fibrous and full of seeds. You can buy tamarind concentrate, but it can get pretty pricey, whereas this decent-sized package was only $3. And turning it into a liquid concentrate isn't all that hard, just kinda tedious and a little messy. Add the tamarind to a small amount of water and just kinda mash it between your fingers. What'll happen is it'll start to dissolve into the water, separating from the fiber and the seeds. After removing the pulp, you're left with this thick paste. If you're unable to get your hands on some, the closest substitute is mixing some lime juice with brown sugar. It's definitely not the same, but it's close enough. The other ingredient that really makes this dressing special is palm sugar. While palm oil is environmentally damaging, palm sugar is produced using sustainable methods. It comes in these little pucks that are fairly hard but can easily be shaved with a knife. But what makes palm sugar different than regular sugars is that it has this wonderful honey flavor to it, and is a fraction as sweet. If you're unable to get palm sugar, honey is by far the best substitute. In addition to tamarind and palm sugar, we'll also be adding some lime juice. Sambel Oelek, which is just crushed chilies. This is optional and can be substituted with your favorite hot sauce. Some sesame oil, and my favorite brand of fish sauce, Red Boat. While whisking, slowly add a neutral oil like canola, just until it thickens and emulsifies. You won't need very much. Then bust out your... Well, can't unsee that. Spoon a good amount of the dressing into the center, followed by a shit ton of noodles. Top with the carrot, cucumber, radish, green onion, pork belly, and some more of the dressing. Totally optional, but to give it some extra crunch, top with some chopped peanuts. And for a burst of freshness, some cilantro and mint. And that's it. Thai Noodle Salad. This simple salad has become a weekly meal for us, and it's a fun way to eat relatively healthy. I also want to take a second and thank everyone for your continued support. I know my upload schedule has been all over the place as of late, and I'm trying to integrate the demands of my channel with my business schedule, which just keeps getting busier and busier. If you're unsure what I'm talking about, definitely go check out my channel update video I did a few months back. And if you like my channel and are interested in supporting it while also getting some cool perks, like access to my private Discord server where I post updates, behind the scenes, and even just things I cook at home, bonus content like my travel vlogs, and shoutouts in episodes, you can check out my Ko-fi page. I'll leave a link for that down in the description. And hey, if you've made it this far, consider liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, all that fun stuff. They're the easiest ways to support the channel and what drive YouTube's metrics and allow the channel to reach a wider audience. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome. Hi, my name's Trystan Petrash. Don't even know how to say my own name. Alright then. Unless you happen to be a monthly donor, then you get behind these. Ugh. That's really hard. Unless you happen to be a monthly donor, then you get behind the scenes. Ugh. Fuck. It's really hard.